I guess the idea is of the epitome of being a troubadour. What is it about it that appeals to you creatively and also just keeps you going? That's good.
I mean, I'm still inspired by getting better and creating. So I mean, luckily that fire hasn't burned out. So it's like I still feel like I'm not as good as I want to be, and I haven't achieved what I want to achieve. So that kind of drives me. And it's like, if you would have asked me 15 years ago and like shown me a snapshot of what I was doing like 10 years from then, or 10, I would have been like, wow, that's great. But now I'm kind of like, well, I still need to do this. It's like every time the chapter ends, probably as a writer, you understand, like you always kind of just want to keep developing your thing, and so that definitely drives me. And I love so many different kinds of music and aspects of writing and songs, and I've been able to meet so many different talented artists that want to collaborate, and so it's just this cycle that keeps me getting better and learning and carving it out, and it's like that, if I can keep doing that forever and make a living and support my family, that's fine.
Well, I feel like it's one of those things where I've had that with me as a writer, where at some point you have to have a conversation early on, in your head at least, that hell or high water, this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
So then everything else is just details after that point.
Absolutely, man. It's a tough, living a creative lifestyle is challenging, working for yourself, and it's like at any moment it'd be easy to say, you know what, I'm just going to punch a clock and make this simple. But
the irony is, if you punch the clock with it, you'd probably get sick of it.
Absolutely. I mean,
how's the food? Do you like it?
It's delicious, man. Really good. Yeah, really good.
What do you see as the role of a songwriter these days? I mean, it's one of those things where we live in such a distracted musical atmosphere, at least on a mainstream level. Mm-hmm. Is there still a place for the songwriter? Is it still as important as ever?
I think it's as important as ever. But I've never. Getting texts about my daughter right now. Sorry. I've never taken it upon myself to feel like any responsibility of carrying any sort of huge weight to society in writing songs. It's like that thing of just concentrating on what is the sound that comes through you, what is the thing that you have to communicate.
Yeah.
And anytime I get distracted by that other shit, oh well, listen to the kind of stuff he's writing, that's heavy. There are writers that are really good at that. To me, I just like to take the little pieces of life that feel important to me and try to write songs about it in the style that I write, and that's all I can do. I mean, I'm not gonna get up on a pulpit and try to preach to people and the social aspects of it, I think, are driving the creativity in a way, if not for me to be oh, I need to get up and tell people how much I hate Donald Trump and how important this is. No, it's more those feelings in turn causing me to focus more inward on the things that I think are important in life, and then gift back.
Promoting the positivity rather than
and it's well, I'm frustrated, I'm pissed off. Well, what is the lesson here? What are the things that I can hold on to and give in a song? More so than I need to figure this all out and tell people what to think. It's not. It's more just I think songs should kind of open up worlds and
even almost a double entendre kind of thing too.
What's that?
A double entendre kind of thing where the symbolism and the mood of it. Is everything good in it? Very good.
I like a song to not tell me what to think, but to make me feel something.
Yeah.
Just open up a door and just guide, kind of just a sign that says look that way, and feel your way through it. That's sort of like how I look at songs. It's a little more ambiguous than, like, there's a guy like Jason Isbell, who is like one of my heroes, but like the way he writes is not the way that I would think that is my thing. Like, he's very direct, you know, and can really carve out a story to the word. And
well, that plays into the truckers, where, you know, now they're a little more on the nose politically, but like back in the day, the truckers would tell you a story to get a point across.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
And Isbell's fantastic about that too. But.
Well, he's one of the best out there, you know. But then there's guys like. I'm trying to think who I can give a good example of.
What do you think about what's going on with Isbell and Sturgill and everyone that's giving a big middle finger to the mainstream Nashville?
I love it, man. It's like,
yeah, agreed.
I think it's great. It's like
they couldn't get through the front door, so they go through the side and blow it up. You know what I mean? I love it.
It's wonderful that that they're proving that they don't need them, and it's sort of like they're losing their power.
Well, it's almost twofold from my perspective. One is that it's very liberating for musicians like yourself that the DIY model is working. But beyond that, it's also, well, we've all been here for 10 or 15 years. People are just finally taking notice. We've all been very vocal and very pissed off at the scene of what's going on in terms of what's marketed and what's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't live in Nashville, so for me, like, I don't get as pissed at that shit, because it's like I don't feel like I ever even had a chance at that world.
But when I see them come through Asheville that are coming out of there, they're just all like piss and vinegar about it in a good way, because I'm like, yeah, man, I feel that. Like,
but I can see, like, for a guy, like, for those guys, it's like they live in Nashville and are making music that Music Row should be like embracing, and they're not. So
yeah. Did you see that video of Sturgill outside of the
I did.
busking and no one knew who he was?
It was awesome.
Oh.
It was awesome. He's great, man. I mean,
and the more they poke him, the more vocal he gets. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, he does. You know, I did a tour with him.
That's why. What's your take on it as someone who's done a tour with him?
He, you know, back then it was kind of right as he was starting to blow up, and I was just kind of really inspired by the way he did his business. It was like my way. I don't give a fuck about like social media. I don't give a fuck about Nashville. I don't care if you call me country. I don't care what you call me. I'm just gonna do it my way. And like, you know, he was getting, you know, courted by all these, you know, industry people, and he just was like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm just gonna do it my way, and he did, and it was really, really inspiring to see someone like that be able to do that
on that level. Especially.
Yeah, it really gave me like kind of a shot in the arm to be like, all right, this is possible. Like the good guys can win.
But I will say, you probably felt some solidarity because, at least from my perspective, you've always done it your way anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think I like to think that was sort of what he saw in me enough to like bring me on board, and you know. We became friends. It's sort of like he saw that, you know, I was sort of the same way, you know. It's just like I don't really know any other way to do it, you know. Like I've never been, you know, like I've never been one to like try to follow the trends because I would just feel foolish. I'm not an actor, you know what I mean? Like, it's like.
Well, I interviewed Marty Stewart one time, and he had said, you know, this is a guy, Marty Stewart, who's seen every trend in the book.
Sure.
That's come by 3 or 4 times at this point.
Right.
And he always said what it mattered at the end of the day was staying close to the source.
Yeah.
Which is the old timers that have the good stuff and the people that are really doing it.
That is it to me.
Staying close to the source.
That I couldn't have said it better, man. That's it. And like, whenever I feel like a little off kilter and like off the course, I'll go back and listen to like a bunch of Doc Watson, T-Bone Walker, and Lightning Hopkins, and you know, like Robert Johnson. Just like get back to like, okay, this is, you know, and it's like taking vitamins, you know, like you just kind of like get back to it, and yeah, like all I'm trying to do is hear the music in my head as clearly as possible, and that's really like the best I can do. And I think when you do that, you offer something good to the world, and people respond.